Today we have a secret topic because Mom hasn't told us our topic yet. So Mom, what's our topic? I know.
Today we're going to be talking about something very sensitive, okay? And I just want to get all your opinions on this, okay? The first question here is going to be, what would you do if someone, it doesn't matter who, it could be your uncle, your auntie, your teacher, your friend, or a stranger. If somebody touches you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, something you consider inappropriate, what would you do? What would you do?
If it was a kid, I would tell the closest grown-up. If it was a grown-up, then I would call the police.
How would you call the police?
I would take the nearest phone and go 911. Excuse me, somebody's treating me inappropriately or harassing. But what if there's no phone?
What if you don't have any phone around you, like, you know?
Then I'll go to the closest grown-up that I know will be safe.
Okay.
Okay, so but in school they teach us if you see somebody doing that, you'd be like, stop. That's not safe. Yeah. That's safe. Okay, so for me, if someone started to treat me uncomfortably, I would probably tell them to back off. Like that, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that. It's not appropriate and doesn't make me feel good. I would probably do that because they'll probably stop, and if they don't, I will do what Rita would do, and I will go to someone that I trust and someone that I know would not do something to make me uncomfortable, someone that I really trust, like a parent or teacher, and I will tell them that they keep doing it after I told them to stop, but I will try to tell them to stop before I try to tell somebody or ask why you're doing this to know.
I would just scream stop, but not in a nice way, in a rude way, because they're not being nice and I don't need to be nice either. I would be like, stop right now or else.
Neso, you said something. You said you will go to somebody you trust that you know would never do something bad to you.
Same.
What if the person doing this to you is somebody you trust? Something like an uncle or an auntie that you really trust, but then they're touching you in a way that you think is inappropriate. What would you do?
Well, like an uncle or an aunt, I would probably tell my mom and my dad. I would just be like, can you please stop this? They would probably listen because they're my aunt or uncle. If they wouldn't listen, then I would just go tell my mom or my dad. Because they are related to me. They will kind of feel me, know how I feel, and say, okay, I'll stop. You might not, I'm sorry if you don't like this. And then I'll forgive them. And it's over. We hug and do all that.
You said you forgive them, so when you forgive them, does that mean you're not going to tell your parents because you forgive them, or would you tell your parents?
I would still tell my mom because I would tell her so she would make sure they won't do it again. And it's but I would still remember that moment and still learn from it.
EJ, what do you want to say?
If it was a stranger that touched me somewhere, then I'll just punch it in the gut. I'll call my sister Lita.
What I would do.
No, I still.
Okay, let's. No, EJ, we already heard you. Okay, what is it?
I call my sister Lita to pull his swag off first.
Let me ask you guys something. So, let's say you go somewhere and somebody does something inappropriate to you, touches you or even says something inappropriate to you, and tell you not to tell your parents. And if you told your parents, your mom or your dad or anybody, they will tell your parents. And then guess what? They show you a knife and they say, if you tell your parent that I did this to you, I'm going to. going
Can
to
I go first? I want to go
No,
first.
let me hear from Neso. That we've heard a lot from you. What are you going to do in that scenario? And you love your parents so much, and they look very mean, and they tell you, if you tell anybody, we're going to hurt that person that you tell. So
I'll
what
call
are
the
you going to?
police.
How are you going to call the police?
Well, first,
And you're going home from there, right? After that, mommy comes and mommy picks you up from there. What do you do?
so first, I told my mom when I know like no one's watching, and then I told her to not tell anybody, and I want to be the one to call the police. So I'm like, you don't get hurt, and I'll tell her the whole. And then he'll probably get arrested. That person that did it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I would know that they can't do this to me at home because we have like cameras like outside our porch, so we know who's coming in and out. Everybody, so and they're always like somebody might be outside. They're gonna see, and so I can tell my mom or my dad or even both of them. They will call the police. That person will get arrested. Problem's over. Nobody gets hurt or anything like that, cause they have no power to do that. No power.
Good. Zana, EJ, what do you want to do?
I would just don't say punch in the gut or get a knife and. No, I'll just tell my mom and dad, but because they don't even know where the house is.
What if they tell you they know where you live and they're going to come there and hurt whoever you tell?
Yeah, what if they actually tell you
What
your
the
doors are locked?
So what I'm asking is that, are you going to tell?
Yes. Yes. Of course. We go tell a different grown up and the same grown up.
Zana, I haven't heard from you. What are you going to do?
If someone says don't tell your parents, it's basically a sign that says tell your parents.
Awesome. I love that. Did you hear what Zana just said?
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says, don't tell your parents, it
Yeah.
basically means, well, now I have to tell mom or dad. Like, I really have to tell. If the person says, don't tell, you're going to be like, okay. But in your mind, you know that, oh my God, I can't wait to get away from here so I can tell. It doesn't matter if they show you a knife or anything they want to use and hurt that person.
Or
You
your
have to
or
tell.
your address. And
It
be
doesn't
like,
matter.
I'll come to your
It
house
just means
tomorrow.
if anybody tells you you can't tell, that means you have to tell.
So they can't come in. They can't come in. They don't know anyone that lives in the house. They can't get through the gate because they have to have their name on the gate. So if
Well, that's for our house. Some people's houses, you can just walk in.
and if
Again, we have to think about this. What if, again, I always say an uncle or a cousin, because sometimes the person that hurts us might not be a stranger. It might be somebody we know, somebody we play with, somebody our parents trust. So what if it's your cousin that does something to you and they tell you, you better not tell because you know I'm coming here tomorrow. If you tell, if you tell your sister, I'm gonna hurt her when I come, and they shoot you a knife. And this person is your cousin. I know your cousins won't do that. I'm just saying generally because we're trying to educate all the young people.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
what are you
so
going to
if
do?
you're gonna, if it's my cousin, you
Hold
want
on, let's see, EJ, what was
Okay.
the question?
I would
I can't hear you, EJ.
I would just let them do that because I would still have my mom and dad to save me from any danger.
Oh, you mean you're gonna let them do whatever they want to do to you?
No, not to me, like to my sister. You know what I would
Are
do?
you still going to tell?
Yes, I'm definitely gonna tell. And if they don't believe me, then I'll call the police myself.
Okay. But you know your parents will always listen to you, right? Rosanna, let's hear from you. What if your cousin or an uncle or just somebody your mom trusts or your dad trusts does this and they come in the house all the time and they tell you, if you tell, I'm going to hurt them?
Okay, so it is very deep and sensitive. But if they did something like said something, you could record with
What if you don't have a chance to record? What I'm asking is, are you going to still tell your parents
Well,
if something like that happens?
I would tell my parents to tell the police.
Oh,
Okay.
I have a good solution for this.
What is it?
So, they said not to tell your parents, you can tell one of your siblings to tell your parents, because like, what if they haven't talked to one of your siblings?
Why wouldn't you tell your parents yourself?
I guess you would tell your parents yourself, because like Xana said, you should, like, when someone says don't tell your parents, it's an immediate sign to tell your parents.
Like, you might not tell. You can actually just call the police yourself.
Why not just tell your parents?
If you tell your parents, they still come to the house. They could get caught by the police. But if you're really independent, then you call the police yourself.
Oh, so what Rita said just gave me a good idea of what you should do. So you should definitely tell your parents right when you get home, and then they can call the police. And the next time that person that your parents trust, or that cousin or the aunt or something, or someone, they get caught by the police, and they won't get to do anything because like the police is there.
Okay. Does anybody want to add something before I tell you what I have to tell you? Okay, well, what I'm telling you now is, when somebody tells you not to tell your parents, like Xana said, no matter who, no matter what they said, no matter what threat, you should always tell your parents. Even if they tell you, if you tell your parents, they're going to hurt you, they're going to do this, no matter what they said,
They will never
you
have a
should
chance.
always tell your parents.
They will never ever have a chance to do
Because
it.
guess what? When you tell your parents will do something and make sure that that person doesn't come close to you anymore.
Good.
If they need to call the police, they'll call the police. Whatever they need to do, your parents will do it. But then if you tell your parents and they don't listen, which could happen, right?
Yes.
Which could happen to somebody that the parents will not listen. If that parent doesn't listen, guess what? When you go to school, you can tell your teacher.
Or if you want to, you can just call the police
You can
yourself.
call, yeah, you can tell your teacher, you can tell another adult that you trust. Okay? Until somebody listens. You don't stop talking about it
Yeah,
until somebody listens.
Yeah, like there's something that we learned at school. You can call until you're heard. That's something that they talked about in school.
Good. Call until you're heard. So if somebody does something to you or says anything to you and you tell somebody and they don't listen, you keep telling somebody until somebody listens to you. You don't stop. You don't give up. And you never get scared. Okay?
Because you know that you're protected.
If you get scared, guess what happens? That bad thing keeps happening to you. If you get scared and you don't talk about it, it keeps happening. It's never going to stop.
You can tell trusted adults, or even like an older sibling. Like if you have a very older sibling that's in like high school or college, you can tell them.
Yeah, you keep
They can
telling
help them.
somebody. You keep telling until somebody listens to you. Okay?
You know, the thing is that sometimes, like your friend's dad or mom or somebody else that your friend's related to or knows, or anybody knows, could be doing this to you. So they might know, and then they could tell the person that sometimes they cannot
It could
help.
be your friend's dad. You could go to your friend's house and your friend's brother or cousin or dad or mom does something to you.
Anything to you, so.
And then don't be scared and be like, oh, if I tell my mom, then she's not going to let me play with this person anymore. You have to tell.
Yeah, no matter what.
Okay?
Yeah. Do you know the worst type of way to get harassed or someone telling you is when you're online, because you never know who this person really is. You just have a username or password. Like they can be catnifer3d or
What?
wait 17.
Yeah, so we're not really talking about the online thing because I don't expect two people to chat with anybody online.
We don't chat online unless
Exactly,
you
at
let
this age.
us.
So
Yeah,
we're kind of talking about something for your age. Somebody does something bad to you and they tell you that it's your fault. That you caused it. That it's all your fault that this is happening to you. Would you believe them? Is it really your fault?
No,
No.
I would call them crazy and cuckoo.
I would tell the parent because I would be like, because I would feel that doesn't feel right. Because what did I do? I just got pushed into this situation, and then they say, oh, it's all your fault.
What do you have to say to children all over the world about this? What advice do you have to give to them?
Well, So first of all, there are 3 lessons that we're going to learn here. First lesson, when someone says don't tell your parent, you immediately have in your mind to tell your parent. Secondly, it's never your fault. It's never ever your fault. Someone just tries to find the nearest person to blame. And last, you can always trust your parents and you speak until you're heard.
What my lesson is, you, no matter what, tell a parent or anyone you trust.
What I have to say is that this is common in some places, and that is a bad thing. But the lessons that Neso just said are the things you can do to stop them.
What should they do?
Tell your parents it's never your fault, and call until you're heard.
Those are the 3 lessons you have to learn in life. And, well, not the only 3 lessons, but some 3 lessons you have to learn in life to protect yourself and just to help you. It will help you. And the first one that I said is very, very important.
Tell.
Tell.
Parents.
It's never a bad thing to be a tattletale.
Yeah, always tell. And it's never your fault. You're just a baby. You're just a little child. An adult can do something bad and tell you that it's your fault. It's not your fault. So don't believe anybody that tells you it's your fault because you're being bad or because you did anything. It's never your fault. And you always have to tell and keep telling until somebody does something
Keep
about
telling until you're heard.
it. Until you're heard. Okay, guys?
Back to being joyful. That is all in our video today. Remember to like,
Subscribe
and
slam
slam
that
that
notification button. Bye. See you next time. Be safe, kids.
Okay, Zizi. So, why was this making you uncomfortable?
it's just a really deep and serious topic.
Why your heart was beating so fast?
I know.